Hello, once again, welcome to my lifestyle chat channel. Like, comment and subscribe. So this is part 3 of my chronological timeline, and it's all to do with the work that I've done previously. And I have done a video similar to this previously, all about my work history, all about where I've worked. But the reason why I'm doing this video about where I've worked is for a different reason. And this one is not just about where I've worked, it's more of a timeline, it's more of a chronological timeline. But as I've said before, I'm not even really storytelling, I'm just keeping it quite short and simple, really, to the basic facts, really. So I got up to the point where, what happened? Oh yeah, I was talking about jobs corps, and then I returned from Boston back to New York. Actually, I said this was around about June, and it wasn't about June, it was more earlier on in the year. It was more so about April, I think. I went to jobs corps, and I think I was there for about a month or so. And when I returned, I was looking for work. If anyone has a mother and you think that your mother hates you, your mother probably doesn't hate you. And really and truly, your mother most likely knows what's best for you. Mother-daughter relationships, I'm talking about mother to daughter. And similarly, likewise, for a guy, if you're a guy and you got a father, dad, and you think your dad hates you, your dad probably doesn't hate you. He probably just genuinely does know what's best for you, and you maybe just think that he hates you or something. I'm saying that because basically, I think my mum knew what was best for me, and I should have basically, in my life, I should have stayed in America, and basically, I'd probably be married now to some millionaire, and I'd have my citizenship, and all my life would just gone nice, plain sailing, the way that I wanted it to go, if I'd have just basically stayed in America. So, but that didn't happen, and that's why I'm doing these videos on TikTok, as a type of journal for myself, to get more clarity in my mind, clarity in my head. So basically, of what went on in my life, what has gone on in the past in my life. But in saying that, it's unfortunate in this world, some parents do hate the children, and if that is your case, only you know what is best for you in that case. Only you know what you need to do in that situation and scenario, But back to the topic, what I was talking about. When I got back to New York, I went to work for a marketing company. I should have just stayed at that job, and I should have just stayed working, kept working and earning money. But I had other ideas in my head, as you do when you're young, about going to college and getting my degree and this and that, and being famous and this and that, ready, whatever. So, but I should have just stayed, to be honest with you. I should have just stayed in that job, okay? Stayed in New York, working, because to be honest with you, that was the best job I had, and that was the best time in my life that I've had. So, everything from that point onwards just gone more like this, So anyway, basically, I went back to New York, and I was working in Long Island as an accounts rep, doing accounts. So I'll explain briefly about that job. Basically, it was Yellow Pages advertising I was working on, and I was a junior, an accounts junior. And what I used to have to do was, basically, they had 2 main rooms plus another room where the boss stayed, the office. They had 2 main, in the back room, along one wall, they had all the yellow pages in alphabetical order of all the states in America from A to Z. That was in the back room. In this room was the office. We all worked on our own computer, and there was about 5 members of staff. And what I had to do, people would phone companies, or a company representative would phone up, and they would place an order for an advert that they wanted placed in the yellow pages. And what I had to do was create databases, create Excel spreadsheets. I had to input the data for these Excel spreadsheets. So if they were a company that we'd previously worked with, I used to have to get the invoice from the previous turn, the previous bill, and tally it with the current bill, something like this. I used to have to file the invoices, and then I had to fill out on the Excel spreadsheet the company and the invoice bill from the previous time and the current time. And if I can remember rightly, it was something like this. What I had to do was, the company, I had to go into the other room where all the yellow pages were, pick out what state this company was in, because all the yellow pages were in state order, and find the contact details of the business, like the name of the company, the address of the company, the telephone number, and who owned it, this and that. And from the contact details that I found, basically that's how I used to have to file, see what kind of advert they had before, and what their new request was for the current month or the current year, for this year. And get the previous advertisement. I think I had to photograph the previous advertisement, if I remember rightly, and get the invoice, paperclip it, file it, and then do the Excel spreadsheet, input in the data of the old invoice and the new invoice, something like this. So long ago, and I haven't had a job like this since then. Something like this is what I had to do. So I did that for just short of a year. The only thing I can tell you about that job is, I was really young at this time. When you're young, you think you know everything about life, and you don't know anything about life. You think that you have your plan, you have your goal in your mind of how your life is going to be. But for some of us, life turns out the way we expect. But for some of us, it doesn't turn out anything like the way that we thought it was going to be. And as I said, when you're young, when you're this age, you think you know everything, and you don't know anything. So I was just young, and I was very impatient. As I've said before, and I think in another video, when you're young, when you're 16, 17, 18, this is what I was like anyway. I can't speak for anybody else. But, a lot of young people, they feel like it today. They're they can't even think of the idea of going to college or going to university, because they just want to work, they just want to earn money. And the way they are is go college, man. I don't want to go college for. I don't want to go uni for 2 years, 3 years. It's just long, man. That's a long thing. What's a long thing? I don't want to go uni for. You're just young, so I was young, I was impatient, I knew what I wanted to do, and this job, I don't know, I don't want to get negative, but basically I knew what I wanted to do, and at that time, that job, it wasn't it, Looking back in hindsight, I was like, you know what, it was a damn good job, and I should have just stuck at that job. But when you're young, you just you think you know, but you don't know, do you? So basically, as I said in the previous video, I wanted to go to either university or performing arts school to do performing arts. That's what I wanted to do. So when I looked into going to uni in America, and I saw all the loans, the fees of, you know, what going to uni would entail, because, you know, you've got the conversion rate as well. So for example, 20,000 at that time anyway, it was literally straight down the middle, 50 half. So $20,000 would mean £10,000. So when I got the prospectuses for the universities and I was looking at these tuition fees, like $20,000, I was like, where the hell am I going to get $20,000 for, just for 1 year? It's not even for 3 years, it's for 1 year. So, and you know, speaking to my mom about this, and she was like, oh well, you know, you're gonna have to apply for financial aid. You know, we call it student finance, yeah. And this as well, you know, in America they have all these different terms, and then you have to get used to the lingo. So I was just all a bit like, financial aid, like, financial aid. It was just all a bit like this. So and they were like, I had to be in the country for 1 year before I could apply for financial aid. So at that time I was 18, something like that. 1 year to me sounded like literally a lifetime, because I was impatient. It just sounded too long. So for this reason and for various other reasons, I said in my mind, I made my plan. I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to England. Actually, I really loved New York, and so I returned to the UK to do my A-levels. And when I returned, it was November, and everybody knows the academic year, it starts in September. So I started work, and I worked as a Christmas temp in WH Smith. That's what I did. And in the new year, I worked for Darcy's shoe store. And I think around about February time, I started working in Chinatown in a bar called Bar Coast. So I worked in WH Smith Darcy's sales assistant, and in Bar Coast as bartender, working like weekends, daytimes and evenings. Yeah, and I did that up until the new year, September. I went back to Joseph Chamberlain College to do my A-levels. This turn, the previous time, I done business studies, theatre studies and performing arts. This time around, I done performing arts, theatre studies. I actually did psychology, and then I changed psychology to media studies and English literature. Now what am I talking about? I didn't do performing arts. I did theatre studies, English literature, and I swapped psychology and media studies. That's what I did. And that was a 2-year course. Everybody knows it takes 2 years to get your A-levels. So, and that's what I did.